We have an incredible show lined up today. You're watching WagerTalk. What are you watching? WagerTalk Today. Yes, rolling already. The best daily sports betting show on the planet. Tons of actionable information. We have two great guests today. Jeff Petch, we'll talk about him in a second. His nickname is the Mad Russian. He's not even Russian. And Carmine Bianco. His nickname is Carmine Bianco, and he is Italian. Anyway, Andy Lang joining us. Andy, how are you today, my friend? What's going on?
Not too much going on. Kind of a nice, quiet day. We hit our first leg of our darts parlay that we talked about yesterday. So we just need to hit the other one today. We're good to go. And, of course, the Open Championship coming up tomorrow. So I am very excited for the next 4 days.
Yeah, excited about the golf. I'm more excited to golf, but I have no games on the horizon. Eddie, let's get straight into the show. I want to tell you guys, at WagerTalk, we are constantly looking for the best talent that we can find. And we have brought a person to the website who bets NFL football, one of the best in the world. His name is Jeff Petch. They call him the Mad Russian. And this guy, 2021, won $325,000 at the Circa Sports Millions. He tied for first place. He had a record of 63-27, which is a 70% record. He's won countless contests, and his record in the Circa Sports Millions since it begun is 62%. These are incredible numbers. Grab your pen. Let's all learn together. Welcome, Jeff Petch, the Mad Russian. How are you, my friend? And welcome to the WagerTalk family.
You guys, thank you so much, Lawrence and Andy, for having me. I got to be honest with you, man. I'm so freaking pumped to be a part of this company, WagerTalk. I can't even put it into words, guys. I'm just, I'm honored, and that's an understatement. I'll tell you what, though, it was a dogfight for me to get here on time today. My wife took off to Hawaii with her mom yesterday for 9 days, so it's literally been daddy daycare around the house. It's in full effect right now, boys. So I think I saw Vegas had a line on me with the over-under set at 1/2 on visits to either the hospital or urgent care, with the over being plus 150. So I feel like that's a live dog. If I were you, I would pound the over on that.
Well, Jeff, firstly, you should be honored. There's a lineup of hundreds of handicappers that want to get on the site. We get emails every single day. But you deserve to be part of the best handicapping team ever assembled. As for your wife going to Hawaii, that means you're on vacation too. So congratulations, because, man, as a married, divorced, and married man, nothing is better than when the woman disappears for 9 days. That I can tell you unequivocally. Let's get into this, man. So what we're going to do today, guys, we're going to talk about Jeff, who he is, what his accomplishments are, what you should expect when you buy his package. And then we're going to get into some actionable information, including strategies that he used to come up with plays, and also a free bet, which is a 4% play that he is selling to his clients. This will be a great segment. So let's start right off the bat. Jeff, tell us about yourself and how you got into sports betting and why you only do the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate it. So I have been watching this league, I can say, since I was literally 5 years old. I remember when I was a little kid, my dad. Oh, that was pretty damn close. Yeah, you got me chalked up as 70. Good Lord, I don't look that, do I? I know the camera puts on 20, but does it put on 20 years age?
No, but you look great for 80.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Lawrence. That means a lot. It really does. So I was 5. And I started watching it. And then my dad, he worked at Kellogg's. He used to come and he used to bring home parlay cards when he worked at the factory at Kellogg's. Do you guys remember those parlay cards back in the day, the old school ones?
No.
I actually printed one out.
Absolutely.
Okay,
I remember
thank you,
they're
Andy.
still around. they're still around. There's
Look
still
at this.
places
Yeah.
that do them. Absolutely, I know those.
So yeah, the guy that ran it at Kellogg's, my dad would bring these home. You'd come up here and you'd figure out your 3 to 10 teamer, and I'd circle it all and give my dad my $1 or $5, and away we go. But I was looking at some of these odds, and this one's dated 1998. A 3-teamer pays 5 to 1. We know that should pay 6, right? A 5-teamer pays 15 to 1. Should pay 20. And then here's my favorite one. A 10-teamer pays 100 to 1. We know that number should be around 700. So I was literally getting screwed right out of the gate with these odds, man, from day one. But I do have to give props to my dad. He was the one that got me started in all of this. And I feel like from up top, he would be extremely proud of my success I've had to date.
So, Andy, before you jump in with your question, Jeff, great dad moment from your dad teaching his son how to gamble. Very impressive stuff. Everyone should do that. Not that I'm one to talk. I did mushrooms with my daughter Saturday night. So between me and your father, we should both be up for Father of the Year awards. Excellent stuff.
Hands
Andy?
down, man. That's taking it to a new level with mushrooms.
So Jeff, tell us about some of your accomplishments over your career.
Oh, I feel like I'm tooting my own horn, but I'm going to go with it, man. In 2021, I finished. Yeah, I hear you. I finished first, tied for first, cashing out this check behind me here for $325,000 in the Circa Millions 3 at a record at a 70% clip. That to date, guys, is still the highest record for the contest. Also that same year in the Westgate Super Contest, 66%, I ended up cashing just under 18.5. Flashback to 2020, I finished 13th in the Circa Millions 2 with a 63% record of 53-31-1. That cashed in a little over 10,500. I believe that Lawrence mentioned this earlier, but lifetime record, and it is documented, boys, that my lifetime record for the contest is 215, 129, and 11, and that's at a 62% clip. Finally, I'd like to mention that most recently here in 2023, Kelly in Vegas actually nominated me. She threw out a recommendation to humans over at the VSiN to have me on the Friday Football Invitational. So in that one, I'll explain it to you. I was competing against 15 other professional handicappers there. Fortunate enough to take down first place. Got the green jacket, which means more to me than the 15 grand that I cashed in of Derek Stevens' money.
Well, congratulations on that. I've only had one successful contest in my life. I came third in the Westgate many years ago. I don't really enter a lot of these. They actually mess up my handicapping. And that's what I wanted to ask you, Jeff.
Yes, sir.
I found that these contests were terrible for my clients. I would get caught up in the picks that I was trying to put out in the Circa. They would mess with my mind. I was a totals bettor and I had to find sides. And I found that doing a bunch of these contests year in, year out was not good for my betting. Do you find that, do you find the same thing here, or do you think that it helps?
Personally, for me, I think it helps a little bit because I as I mentioned before, or maybe you mentioned, I'm exclusively NFL. And, I can kind of get into right now, and this might be a good bounce back, is to get into a few strategies that I use when I do the handicapping for these contests, because it is different. The first thing I'm going to point out right off the get is that you're stuck with whatever lines these contests come out with. And so that's the crappy part, is that if a line should be 3 and it's 3 and a hook, we're screwed. We're stuck with it, right? So, but the thing that I'd like to add there is that even though you can't shop and go out and get a better number, you kind of have to stick with your guns. Because a lot of people would look at that stale line at 3.5 instead of 3. They're either going to avoid it, or there's a chance they might decide to go opposite on it. And for me, what that does is that allows a little bit of separation between me and some of the other contestants that I'm going against to lay that extra hook. And I know you're going to rip me a little bit, because I understand 15% of NFL games end exactly on 3. But I've always found that one strategy to be something that I'm not afraid to go with a stale line. Now, am I going to tell my clients to bet a stale line? Absolutely not. We're going to shop it for that best number. In the contest, it's a completely different story. Another strategy,
yep.
if you want me to continue, go ahead. Yep, go ahead.
No, Jeff, roll on, man. Everyone is sick of me.
I was going to tell you,
getting sick of Andy.
Yeah. No, I was going to tell you, like, another strategy that I think this one might seem obvious for some, maybe others, is avoid Thursday night football at all costs. Because what they do with these contests here is if you put in Thursday night, you just can't put in that one play. You got to send all 5 in, man. And when you send all 5 in on Thursday night, you guys know as well as I do, you're losing valuable information by not getting that injury report on Friday at 3 p.m. You also might get more information coming in on Saturday morning. So you're losing that opportunity to find out who was a full participant, who was limited, who was out. And that's why I always wait until the last minute when I'm in these contests to put my plays in. And if the clients out there are using a proxy, always pay the extra cash to get their top package. That will allow you to put your plays in Saturday afternoon instead of having to put them in Friday night. So I always recommend to pay the extra $1.50, get their top package. Final thing I'll mention, and this one's real hard. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, Jeff, please.
I get rolling, boys, and I apologize. But the final thing I'll mention, and this one's real hard, is late in the year, and this one's tough. And I remember it like it was yesterday, 2021, when I was fighting for this check. Is that I had everything printed out of everyone in front of me and who they played. And, this guy took San Fran. This guy takes, 80% dog. And I started going through it, boys, for like 20 minutes. And then I just ripped all the damn papers up and said, the hell with this shit. I ain't doing it. I'm going to go with what got me here. And I'm going to pick my 5. And I'm going to let my contestants go ahead and change their approach instead of me doing it. So those are the 3 strategies. There's probably more than that. But those are the 3 that I'll give out that I think are helpful when you're looking at betting these contests. Because they are tough, man.
Jeff, I'm going to add another strategy. Sorry, Andy. Read your Slack. Andy, I'm not going to lecture you like I do Teddy, but read your Slack, my good pal, nicest guy ever, Andy Lang. Jeff, I'm going to give out a quick 4th strategy. Never forget to put your plays in. I know it sounds obvious. But if you're a follower of WagerTalk Today, you know that I was partners with Teddy 2 years ago. We had started like 17-3, and then he forgot to put the plays in.
Oh,
of course, he did blame me completely, which is absurd given that I live in Toronto and he was the one that lives in Vegas and was supposed to drive there. But never forget to put your plays in. Put an alarm on your phone to remind you. Guys, before I throw this to Andy, and we have a bunch more questions. We have a promo up for Jeff. He goes under the name The Mad Russian. He is not Russian. He might be mad. We have not figured that out yet. But he has an incredible promo up that I really implore you guys to take advantage. I am not kidding you when I say that Jeff is a world-class NFL bettor. He is as good an NFL bettor as I am a lovemaker. And I mean, that is Tom Brady-esque, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Connor McDavid-esque. He's got a promo up for $99. You get his entire month of September for only $99. I would say that this is one of the must-purchase packages at our website. We have thoroughly vetted the Mad Russian. He told you all about his Circa wins and his Westgate wins and his Wiesn wins. And, well, it wouldn't surprise me if he sits at the top of the leaderboard at Wager Talk when all said and done in NFL. So please head over to his page at Wager Talk and grab that $99 package. Now, Jeff, one of our listeners wants to know when during the week you will be putting your plays up. So with that in mind, what should people expect if they buy that $99 package? How many plays do you have? Are they sides? Are they totals? Are they parlays? Are they prop bets? And when throughout the week do you release the plays? And then, Andy, it's all you.
Yeah, so I want to start with answering that question, and I appreciate the question. It'll come out on either Friday, kind of late afternoon. Again, I'm waiting until that injury report, so it'll either come out Friday late afternoon or even into Saturday, and that's when my plays will come out. Talking about my package, guys, it's very important point that I want to make, that I am exclusively the NFL. That's all I do. So I learned years ago that I had to swallow my pride and go and handicap in what I'm good at. And I use outlets and I use platforms like Wager Talk to get my plays on some of the other leagues. But you guys know as well as I do, man, when there's a point of the year when you've got NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, and NHL, and it's overwhelming. And I can just promise you that all of my time will be devoted into the NFL. And what am I going to be looking at, guys? I'm going to be looking at injuries. I'm going to be looking at strengths and weaknesses and how to exploit them. I'm going to be looking at weather, coaching styles. I'm going to be looking at bye weeks, momentum, revenge games. Does a team travel well? Do they have an identity? A couple teams that travel well, San Fran and Baltimore. They run the crap out of the ball. They play action. They both travel well. I guarantee that the Chargers will travel well this year under Harbaugh. He's going to do the same thing. A few other things. Have they quit on their coach? Is there turmoil in the locker room? Like all these things, there will not be a stone that will not be unturned. And I'm going to look at all of it. So as far as my package goes, what will they be getting? You're going to be getting all my future plays, which is going to include over-under win totals. Actually, I'm going to give a free one out here on the show here in a little bit. Maybe a division winner or two if there's value, maybe a conference champ if I really like one, maybe even a Super Bowl champ. But weekly, to answer your question, anywhere between 3 to 7 NFL sides. I'm 99% sides, guys. It's just something that I haven't got into totals. I'm 99% size, and those plays will range anywhere between a 2% play all the way up to a 5% play.
We got a question here in the chat. You talked about Thursday night games. Does that mean no Thursday plays for you at all for clients, or is that just for the contest?
So there's a chance that no. That's just for the contest. So there's definitely opportunities out there for me to give a Thursday play, to give a Sunday night play, a Monday night. There's all those opportunities. I also want to mention that Kelly in Vegas and I plan on doing a weekly show where we're going to be giving out one play free per week on that show. I believe it might be a Wednesday show right now. We're trying to solidify what day and time that's going to be. But yeah, there's definitely some opportunities for Thursday in the package for sure.
Jeff Petch joining us, everyone. The Mad Russian, a new member over at Wager Talk, one of the best NFL experts on the planet. A promo is up there on his page waiting for you, $99 for the entire month of September. Take advantage of that, please. And Jeff, Save the Clock Tower, a regular listener of ours, really appreciate these guys in the chat room. They take time out of their day every day to join us. He writes, I don't trust any sports betting tout that can't handicap horse racing.
It's a great comment.
Where do we go with that?
Comment. That's a comment of the
I'm
day.
gonna
It's
tell
a
you,
great comment.
that's-
I love it.
That's got to be one of the
listen,
best names of all time, by the way. Save the Clock Tower. Oh, that movie's a legend.
So I don't handicap horse racing. Why should someone trust you if you don't handicap horse racing?
Oh man, I don't handicap horse racing. My grandpa used to, by the way, and used to be pretty good at it, but I do not personally. I can tell you that I've hit a superfecta 1, 2, 3, 4 one time. That's about all I've got. I mean, I think I've hit on the Derby once or twice, but yeah, I'm literally. You might as well throw a blindfold on me. I'm hitting darts anywhere. But no, I've never gotten into horse racing, and like I said, I apologize to that guy, but
you're taking
that's
that
not my
question
forte.
too seriously. You're taking that question too seriously.
Am I really? Okay. All right.
Andy, Teddy Covers is in the chat room. Teddy Covers in a chat room? What the hell? And he writes, not even on the show today. Prez still finds a way to throw me under the bus. When did I do that? I mean, I might have. I probably did. And yes, it was Prez's job to send the put the plays in text. Oh, I threw him under the bus. Oh, yeah. Because that idiot forgot to put the plays up. Andy.
Hey, Teddy, I'll tell Teddy this right now. I'm sorry to interrupt, Andy, but I'll tell Teddy this right now. It happens, man. I don't care if I had residency at the Circa. I would still have a proxy. What if I catch a heater one night and I'm playing craps and I'm up till 3 a.m. getting slammed and I don't make it out in time? I mean, it happens. So I get it. I would always do a proxy. Even if I lived, like I said, at the Circa, 1 floor up, I would still get a proxy.
I had a proxy. His name was Teddy. I forgot to put the plays in Covers. Andy?
Yes.
What's the next question, brother?
We're all over the place. Let's try and do a future. You've got a 4% free play. It would be nice to have some competition in the futures market. I am number 1 the last year and the last 2 years. We're only hitting 71% of futures. So, Jeff, I welcome you on top of the leaderboard for futures. Let's talk about the Rams. What do you like?
71% is tough to catch there, Andy. I'm going to get that out in the open. That's amazing, by the way. Congrats on that. I love the Rams, boys. I love the Rams over 8.5. I know we got to lay a little juice on it. I think it's minus 150 right now, but I had them last year over. Not that I bet it every year, but they soared over that number, going 10-7, winning their last 4. We're going to get the elephant out of the room. They lost Aaron Donald, big blow. I get it, but they actually addressed that in the draft. They had 11 draft picks this year. The top 2 they used on Verse and Fisk, who are absolute studs. Both D linemen, both out of Florida State, and they're both best friends. And I think that helps address that issue. They're a clear-cut top 5 offensive unit in the league. They've got a top 5 head coach. I argue top 3. Stafford, in my opinion, is the best quarterback in the NFC. I believe he is. And I think if you can keep him upright and healthy, I think he can do some serious damage. A few games to circle early, boys, is at week 1 at Detroit. They played them hard last year in the wild card. They only lost by 1. We're giving McVay, he's great off a bye. We're giving him 8 months to prepare for this one. He's going to have the boys ready for this one in a revenge game. And then week 3 at home against San Fran. San Fran could have a little bit of that hangover after the Super Bowl loss in OT. There's definitely some history behind those hangovers after the Super Bowl. So I figure if we can just get one of those 2 games, all right, and based on how we do against Arizona, we're 2-1 or 1-2 going into, and boys, play along with me on this. This is where it gets juicy right here, all right? If you guys can kind of keep track and count how many W's you give me in this next 7, all right, I'd love to hear. All right, here's the next 7, boys. At Chicago, at home against Green Bay. Then we get a bye. We love McVay off a bye. Then we go at home against Vegas, at home against Minnesota, at Seattle, at home against Miami, and at New England. Want to ask what you guys came up with there as far as W's there.
Four.
I got 4. Give them 5 if they're healthy.
I went with 5. We'll go worst case scenario. Give me the Arizona win. We'll go with 4. That puts us at 6-4, boys. We need 3 wins out of the next 7, and we're home. And that's a win right there. So I really like this play a lot. The Rams, they went 10 wins last year. I'm confident they'll be 9 or better.
Jeff, I think it's a gutsy pick. I think you look at the Rams, and I feel like their defense is for sure going to take a step back. You do not replace Aaron Donald in a draft. You don't replace Aaron Donald, period. And I think they're in a division where they can lose all 4 games against Seattle and San Fran. Now, are they going to? No, but I think 1-3, 2-2 at the best. They're in a very tough division. They have a tough game to start the season. They got Miami coming in. I think the line is right. So for me, I'm not with you on that over. It will be interesting to see. I think they might be a sleeper team, but I don't think I can make that bet. They're just in a division where they can lose both to Seattle and San Fran. And I don't see this team as a slayer of giants.
I can appreciate your opinion. I can appreciate it. I feel like the heavy dog they're going to be is at San Fran, probably going to be a 6-point dog there, right? Other than that, I looked at it. I think the biggest dog they might be maybe a field goal throughout. So I'm sticking to my guns here. I love the play. I think that they're going to be at 9 all day.
Jeff Petch joining us, Mad Russian, brand new handicapper over at WagerTalk. We pleaded with this guy to join us. Jeff, we got one last question. Your top 3 strategies for handicapping football. Now, I know you discussed your top strategies for contests. This is specifically for handicapping football. And again, make sure to remember to put your plays in the back end. If Teddy was my partner in handicapping, my clients would only get 1 out of every 4 plays. So, yeah, I'm all over Teddy today. So, with said, top 3 strategies for handicapping football.
All right, I'm going to give you a few kind of off-the-wall ones here and a couple that I like. First strategy I'm going to give out is I think is a real good one, and I have a lot of faith in this one, is I love good teams, good to great teams with a good to great coach, with a good to great quarterback after being humiliated the week before. And I'm going to give you a handful of examples from last year. Talk about San Francisco, okay? They were off their third game, their third game of a 30-game losing streak. They got embarrassed at home by Cincinnati, 31-17. They come back the next week off a bye, and they destroy Jacksonville 34-3. KC humiliated in week 8, 24-9 against Denver. Comes back the next week, flies out to Germany, beats and covers the Dolphins 21-14, I believe it was. And then the last one is my boys, the Lions, who I didn't get to say I'm a Lions fan. They did it twice last year. They got shellacked in Baltimore, literally crushed week 7, 38-6. And then I knew they were going to come back solid. They come back and they beat the Raiders 26-14. And then week 13, they got pounded by the Bears 28-13. They come back and they rolled Denver 42-17. So I do think there's some history behind. If you want to just concentrate on, do they have a good to great quarterback, a good to great team, and a good to great coach? So that would be one strategy I've got. Let me add another one. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No. All right. This one's difficult. But I, as a former coach myself, which I coached for like 15 years, not in college, by the way, just right out of high school. But this one is one where I try to put myself into a team's locker room and try to somehow just get a vibe as what that locker room is like. 2 examples. Russell Wilson getting benched last year. Okay. When he got benched, I was all over them to win their next game. Everyone's tired of his antics. It's prima donna BS. He was hated in the locker room in Seattle. It's obviously going to get carried over where he's going to get hated in Denver. And I just felt like the Broncos, they were my top play that week. I just felt like they were going to come out and show that he was the ass and the reason why that they weren't getting the job done. And they came out and beat the Chargers 16-9. Another example was when Josh McDaniels got canned. Everyone was tired of his ego from day one. That was going to carry over from them being tired of it in Denver, carried over to the Raiders. He gets waxed, gets thrown out. Okay, the boys are going to at that point say, you know what? Let's go out and win one for the Gipper here. Let's show this, you know what, this son of a gun, that he was the problem. I dropped a bomb out of that game. They came out and they rolled the Giants 30-6.
That makes a lot of sense. Jeff Petch, everyone. What an outstanding segment. Jeff, we will have you on regularly throughout the NFL season. We're privileged to have you with us at Wager Talk. Guys, I can't stress enough, please buy his NFL September package, $99. Jeff, I will make a suggestion, and if anybody at head office is listening, I do abuse Teddy at times. Teddy's the greatest September NFL bettor I've ever seen in my life. I suggest that maybe you and Teddy package together and sell a package up on the website. Both your Septembers in one package. With that said, it's $99 for Jeff Petch's September. I highly recommend it. Outstanding to have you with us, my friend. Thanks for joining us. And if you want to come on before NFL, if you've got stuff to say, just slack me. Let me know. We always have a place for you. Thanks so much for being here. Great, great segment. Jeff Petch, to everyone, the Mad Russian. Okay, get out of here, Mad Russian. Go deal with your children.
Yeah. All right.
Okay. Andy Lang.
Yes.
I don't think he beats you in futures, even though he's awesome. You know, I think you're as good as it gets. I'm an Andy Lang fanatic, people. Just to let you know, Andy Lang fanatic. We have a long time. Andy, it's time for your big game breakdown, my brother.
Okay, we'll talk a little bit about the Open Championship. It tees off, coming up here on like maybe 16 hours or so. So just going to go over a couple tips, couple of free plays here for everybody. The weather, Prez, is normally the big story with the Open Championship. It does not look like it's going to be that bad, especially for the first groups of guys that go off. And without the bad weather, I think these guys go low. So I think there's going to be some value in some of these individual scores to go under on some of these early guys. A couple guys I'm looking at, Sung J M, you can get him under 71.5 at plus 105. That means all he has to do is shoot par or better. And this is a guy that's been shooting in the mid to high 60s in his first round over his last few events. I think you can look at Dustin Johnson to miss the cut at plus 100. DJ has mailed it in. Prez. He has just mailed it in on being a competitive golfer. He's done. He's got his money. He's missed the cut in 2 out of 3 majors this year. He missed at the Open Championship last year. He is one of the worst golfers in total strokes gained in the majors this year, and you're getting even money. And I really, really like that one. I also like Brian Harmon to finish in the top 40. You're getting that about minus 140. Prez, this guy won the Open Championship last year by 6 shots. I know it's a different course, but he is good at this style. He finished 6th and 19th the 2 years before, so I think you're getting a really good play on that one. And Ludwig Abear He's number 7 on tour in round 1 score, but he's 91st in the last round scoring. So I think you could play Ludwig Aber to have a good first round. And if he gets off to a good start, look to fade him a little bit more as the tournament goes on. The episode of Tea Time is up with myself and Nick Borman. That is on the Wager Talk YouTube channel. And I have my 5% Open Championship pack that is up. So if you want all my official plays, you can go grab those at wagertalk.com. Never had a losing season in golf. 5-0 in the last 2 tournaments. So I'm looking forward to a really, really good one. So lock in those free plays. Grab that 5%, wt.buzz/AL. That's the big game breakdown. Prez, back to you.
Carmine Bianco still to join us. Andy, real quick about DJ. You know, one thing I've learned as a bettor is when you write a team off, when you write someone off, when you've decided that they've called it a career or quit or thrown in the flag, they win their next tournament. I don't see that happening. But is this like an overall write-off? Like he's done for good, or, you know, will there be some value on him moving forward at some point?
Oh, he's such a gigantic fade. You fade him in head-to-heads. You fade his individual round score. He openly said he doesn't practice that much anymore. Like he's done. Right. He moved over to live. And I mean, just look at some of these other guys. John Rahm, he used to be great. Now he's not. He's struggling to make top 10 over in live. Brooks Koepka can't even break into the top 20 on the live tour the last 2 live events. So these guys that took the money. There's only 60 of them playing. These guys that went over to live, man, they have really lost the focus and the edge on their game. Tyrrell Hatton is the only guy that I would be betting on. And of course, Bryson DeChambeau has been the big revelation. But traditionally he doesn't play well, link style course, even when he was in his heyday on PGA Tour. For whatever reason, the style just doesn't fit his game. So as good as his year has been, he's kind of one of those where you probably stay away just because his track record isn't that great. But yes, DJ is an absolute fade. DJ, when he comes out and he says, "Yeah, I don't practice that much anymore," that is a fade. There's no like, oh, resurgence. Right. He's going to win this one. No, right. He's done.
Guys, if you like what you're hearing, click that like button, please. Take a second and do that. And also subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We still have Carm coming up with some soccer bets for us. Andy, what do we do with Scotty and Rory?
Well, so Scotty's an interesting one because he didn't even finish in the top 20 the last 2 years at the Open Championship. This is a different Scotty Scheffler. His putting is much, much better. I think he does really well. I'm a little bit nervous for him in the first round because he's going to tee off late and is going to get the worst of the weather. It's still Scotty Scheffler. I would expect him to be in the top 10. And Rory, I loved what he did last week at the Scottish Open. He had that disaster at the U.S. Open. He took some time off, came back, finished 4th. He looks to be in good spirits. I expect him to play well. Prez, when the weather is pretty tame, the cream always rises to the top. When you have bad weather at these tournaments, it really throws volatility. It can throw some weird different elements in there. But Justin Thomas said it after the PGA Championship. If you give us soft greens, it doesn't matter what course we're playing, we're going to tear it up. So with the weather being tame, the wind not getting over, sustained 20 miles an hour, the best players are going to be there. Xander Schauffele is going to be there. Scheffler's going to be there, and Rory's going to be there. Those are all guys that we're betting on this week.
Andy Lang, great stuff. Guys, we got a really, really great show tomorrow. I want to shout out Dave Mason. Dave is a bookmaker for a big offshore book, and he will be joining us on the show tomorrow to discuss many things from a bookmaker's perspective, including the general election. We're going to go through election odds and predictions. There is one coming up in November in case anyone missed it. So we'll be discussing that in great detail, and we'll also be discussing some college and NFL futures. Dave Mason from Bet Online, he will be joining us tomorrow. Make sure to be with us for that show. Carmine, how are you, my Italian friend?
I'm good. It's a hard follow after having the Mad Russian on there, but if any
now
of
we have the
WagerTalk
sexy Italian.
yeah. if any of the Italians, if any of Lawrence, if any of the owners, including yourself, are watching this, I think it would be an excellent idea because we have so many good NFL handicappers at WagerTalk that we have a championship belt. Johnny's a big WWE fan. I say we get one. We engrave it with my name for last year because I finished number 1 at WagerTalk in NFL. So I'm going to toot my own horn. At 75 units, or sorry, 76.5 units during the regular season, 68, 45, and 3, 60.2%. That was number 1. I'm going to run it back this year, but we're not here to talk NFL. We're here to talk some MLS soccer for tonight. But Prez, give me your thoughts. Championship belt, what do you think?
Well, listen, I'm all for it. We would have to discuss. I'm not going to do it on ROI. So, I feel like and Teddy and I debated ROI on this show. My opinion about how we and the entire industry does ROI is completely incorrect. I believe that, if you put $1,000 into your bankroll and at the end of the year, it's $2,000. That's 100% ROI. Teddy and others believe that if you bet, that $1,000 10 times and you end up with $2,000, it's a 10% ROI. So I know I'm right. And it's common that I'm right. I'm usually right. So I don't mind doing that, but it would have to be done on units gained and not ROI. So I will speak to Johnny about that. Maybe we can get a belt. And yeah, Johnny and I are both huge WWE fans. I mean, even to this day, I'm 55 years old and I love that stupid ass, whatever you want to call it. Although I don't watch it now, but I watch all the biographies of the people in the past. Let's get straight to it, Carm. Yeah.
Knowing that, just one quick question, one Teddy follow-up question. Knowing that, Lawrence, look at me and tell me who would be my favorite wrestler of all time. If you can name this wrestler of all time, I will buy you dinner.
Well, you said look at me. So I'm going with Mad Dog Vachon.
No, it's not. And it's not the missing link either. It is Jimmy the Superfly Snuka, one of my favorites, man.
Great. He killed his wife.
Off the top of the cage.
Literally killed his wife. He is a murderer
choice, Carm.
and your favorite wrestler.
Odd choice, Carm.
But not in the ring. Hey, listen, there's people who still have O.J. Simpson Buffalo Bills jerseys, but let's get to some European football.
George Animal Steel.
In the US.
I've seen you without your shirt on. George the Animal Steel. Okay, Charlotte at Columbus, Carm. Let's go.
All right, so first thing I'm going to say about if you guys love betting future markets, this is one in which you're still going to be able to get a very good price on this Columbus team. They're plus 800 at DraftKings right now. You might be able to find them a little bit higher. This is a team that won the MLS Cup last year, playing extremely well right now. They didn't have the best start to the season, but that's because they were involved in the CONCACAF Champions League, in which they made it to the finals. And when you're in those, you tend to rest players during the MLS games. So they didn't have the best start. After that final was done, they lost to Pachuca. They've run off 5 straight wins. They've outscored opposition by a 20-2 margin. And I've used them as a 5% play. I used them as a 5% play against Toronto, and they won that game 4-0. Quite easily. They're off a 5-1 win on the West Coast against LAFC, who I believe is one of the best, if not the best teams in the MLS, and that's including the Lionel Messi Inter Miami team. But they play Charlotte tonight, and I've been doing extremely well on totals. The last month, I'm up over 48 units in soccer totals, hitting at about 82% with soccer totals since the start of the Euros. And that's across both competitions and the MLS. This is one in which you got to look at the total. It's sitting at 3 right now, minus 125 to the over. And I like the over in this one. Columbus is going to bring some scoring, but This is a Charlotte team that's won 4 of their last 6 games on the road. They're starting to find some scoring, and they get the exact same setup in this game that that they had last time out. They win into Cincinnati, the number 1 team in the East, and who were fresh off a 5 or 6-1 win over Inter Miami, and Cincy bounced and they beat them 3-1. Now they have Columbus returning from the West Coast off a huge win against LA. A possible bounce here, but it could be one of those ones where it's a bounce, but it could be very easily a 3-2 type game. The analytics support this game, and this is one in which you have to take the over in this one. The over is the best bet. Columbus 9-2 their last 11 games. Their 2 losses, the CONCACAF final against Pachuca, and prior to that they lost 2-1 in Florida to Inter Miami in a game in which they outplayed Miami, but were on the wrong end of a 2-1 decision. So over 3 is the play in this one.
Carm, I will just say, very sneaky that the year that you are number 1 in NFL, you bring up the belt idea. Just very, very sneaky, very well played.
Well,
I see Johnny's in the chat.
Andy, we don't have to etch my name into it. I'm perfectly fine. You know what I mean? We don't have to put my name into it as last year's winner. We can just start from this year on. But we have some great guys. NFL, you went on that insane 5% run. I remember in NFL, you just kept hitting over and over and over again. Prez, Teddy, Marco, Dwayne Bryant. There are so many guys, and now Jeff, the Mad Russian, a ton of guys. But I'm never cocky. Lawrence will tell you this. I'm just not a cocky guy, but I'm going to run it back this year. I'm going to have a good season, so I'm looking forward to it.
Love it. Let's talk Orlando City and Nashville, how we play in this game.
So this is one in which you're going to get plus money no matter who you like in this game. It's finding the right winner. And this is a sneaky bet, but I really like Orlando in this one at plus 151. This is a team that in the MLS, when teams get their players back, because not a lot of teams have the depth like an LAFC has or an Inter Miami has, where they can pull guys off the bench who are still stars in the league, or DPs that have been played in Europe and can come in and score. It's not like that with every other team. Orlando's a team that is getting healthy and they're starting to win games. And you want to be on that train at the beginning of that streak and not jump on when they've won 7 or 8 games and try and jump onto at that point. 3 straight wins for this team, beating New England, DC United, and Toronto. 18 points in 12 road games is the 4th best record, road record in the East. And now they headed into Nashville, a team who's struggling to score. I think they've only scored goals in their last 4 games. 4 straight losses, DC, Portland, Columbus, Inter Miami, some very good teams there. But 26 goals in 23 games. This is a team that if they fall behind, it's very tough for them to get back into a game. I'm going to ride a hot Orlando team here, getting plus money. Orlando plus 151 in this one.
Carm, you mentioned Inter Miami. AUD, a guy who's with us every day and really enjoys the show. He just wrote, "Love the show, man." He wants to know what to do in that Inter Miami game. Is this a client player? You have a thought? Anything?
It is a client play, but I don't mind mentioning it. Listen, this is one that the line really hasn't moved much. There was some early movement on it, and I think it was just because the Copa America ended. People expected the players who are coming back to be into the lineup. That was never going to happen, especially on a short week. You had on Sunday, you had obviously Argentina playing, so you had Lionel Messi in the lineup. He came out late in that second half, an ankle injury. He's not going to play tonight. He won't even be on the bench as a substitute. He likely won't even play on Saturday. It looked like a very bad ankle injury, and then they've got the All-Star break after this weekend's game, so he's not going to be there. Sergio Busquets, who played in the last game for Inter Miami, picked up a yellow card. He's suspended on yellow card, so he won't be in the lineup. And then the only player who could play, Luis Suarez, who played on Saturday and only came in for the final 15 or 20 minutes for Uruguay against Canada. So, and that game was played in Florida. So there's no travel for him to get back to this, obviously back to their home field and practice. He'll likely be on the bench and starts the second half. Their lineup, I posted it in my write-up. I told people what the lineup's going to be, or as close to what the lineup's going to be. I still think Miami, off an embarrassing loss a week ago and not having played on the weekend, are a good bet tonight to get a result against Toronto. I was at the Toronto game this past weekend on Saturday, and they beat Philadelphia and were tooth and nail to get it done against one of the worst teams in the East. I think they are second last or last place. Prez, you never see this from a Toronto team. 87-13 was the time of possession in that Toronto game for Toronto. That shows you, I'm sorry, Nick Borman, if you're watching this, how bad Philadelphia is. The Philadelphia Union, a team that just a few years ago were in the MLS Cup themselves, losing to LAFC.
And we even got to mention Louis the Cannibal Suarez. Carmine Bianco, what do you got to promote?
So 4 plays MLS up for tonight. Nothing in afternoon Champions League. There's nothing that I like. Champions League qualifying is going on right now. Sort of the minnow sides that never end up making the tournament because they've got to go through a playoff Prez before they play some of the good European teams, and they normally drop off at that point. But there's still usually some very good ones. 4% play total up tonight as well too in MLS. And like I mentioned, 23, 5, and 6 with Michaels over the last 30 plus days, 48.45%. And equally as good in MLS. The last 30 days of MLS, 25 units, 80%, 8 wins, 2 losses, 4 pushes. And for your ROI guys, 67.6 ROI.
There we go. Carmine Bianco, everyone. What a show. We had the mad Russian, the sexy Italian, the gorgeous Jew, and Andy. Phenomenal stuff. Andy, thanks for co-hosting with me the last 2 days. Always enjoy doing this with you. Tomorrow, guys, Dave Mason from Bet Online. We're going to delve deep into election betting plus other important stuff from the sports books. Andy, take us home.
5% Open Championship play is up at WagerTalk.com. Good luck on all your plays, and we will see everyone tomorrow on WagerTalk Today.